We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
And this might be that opportunity where I can finally become cool. Okay. All right.
We're here.
Yeah, we are
made it.
finally here for our first episode. This is absolutely amazing because this has taken a long time to happen.
What is this an episode of? What are we doing?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I well, I was under this impression that you're going to be having a conversation.
Oh, like one of those things they do on the internet. There's like a
Yes.
podcast.
Very much like a
Is it
podcast.
that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay,
And
that sounds fine.
yeah, I'm good with it. I thought it would just be really fun to do.
Well,
Honestly.
I have an idea for a title for this podcast.
It's not what we originally thought.
We could do that, but hear me out.
Okay.
All right. So first 20 minutes, right? The theme from Welcome Back Cotter plays, and we call this Welcome Back Biden because we
What?
recorded the first episode on the day that the news was like, well, I guess Biden's president. So
Welcome back, Biden podcast.
Welcome Back Biden, episode 1.
What is it?
We never talk about politics. We
Wait.
just talk about whatever it is we're upset about.
Yeah. Welcome Biden. Welcome Biden. Well, I think it's certainly it's certainly I mean, it's certainly better than how to make a podcast. It doesn't limit our discussion.
Yeah, exactly. The sky is open. We can talk about whatever we want, and it never has to be about the president ever.
I mean, it certainly would. It might cause interest for a lot of people when they see that title, "Welcome Biden." I'm gonna have to tell you that right now.
Well, I'm putting that out there.
We might get the listen. I guess you say listenership in this case. Maybe the listenership from like Pod Save America, or I don't know, the NPR crowd.
Do we want those people though?
I'm
already writing them off. We haven't even. We never did the proper like group focus group thing here.
Yeah, those are always very helpful. That definitely would have given us a better direction. Kind of figuring out, using hard data to kind of figure out what our viewership should be.
Well, let's start here with introductions. Who am I talking to?
Oh, you're talking to SOCO. You're talking to SOCO, whose last name may sometimes be Ranu. Okay, SOCO Ranu. That's who you're talking to.
I've known you by a different name, but okay, I will accept this.
And
hello, SOCO.
So who am I talking to?
You can refer to me as Matt.
I can refer to you as Matt. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How I usually refer to you.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, our first episode, whether it be how to make a podcast or whether it be Welcome Biden, we also have a producer for our show who's just kind of in the background, Mr. Colin Brown. So,
thanks for doing this, by the way, Colin.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, really thank you for doing this. We really need the help, honestly.
It's mostly SOCO. But...
Yeah, mostly
no, it's both of us.
Thank you for not making me feel alone there for a second. So yeah, Well, we'll see how things go. um. Anyway, so why did we start this podcast? Is I think a big question, right?
It's a great question. I don't know if we have any answers to that one yet. We might we might be answering that question 5 years from now.
I kind of wonder, maybe if we last that long, even, right?
Right. Let's ask ourselves that question next year this time. If the United States is still around, we're still around, things haven't, devolved into complete chaos.
Yeah, that I kind of wonder what's going to happen in a year, if we're going to be able to even have that discussion again.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we won't
Um,
be doing podcasts. We might be, you know,
um,
making radio broadcasts from space or something.
that sounds like a big jump. Is that going to be due to Space Force?
Yeah, no, the 2021 onward is all Space
Space
Force.
Force.
That's where it's going. Everybody, I mean, you actually had suggested to me about investing in Nokia, and then it was announced recently. NASA announced this recently that Nokia is going to be the cell provider for the moon. Like, this is not a joke. Like,
Seriously?
yeah. I don't know when that's happening, but like the announcement was made.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Okay. How about the stock?
It only jumped like 30 cents.
Oh, okay, well.
People aren't excited about Nokia yet, even though it's the cell service of the moon.
I'm totally with that. Wow, okay. Okay, well. This is this is big news. I
This is
think you're
huge
actually
news.
surpassing.
Underreported news.
Yes, very much underreported news, and I'm glad we're the podcast to give this to.
You heard it here first on Welcome Back, Biden, episode
But-
1, 6:17 p.m., November 7th, 2020.
yes, definitely. I honestly though, at this point, why did we start this or I just really wanted to be part of a podcast. It seemed like the cool thing to do.
It is the cool thing to do. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, I really wanted to be part of that. So I thought, well, I mean, I've always had attempts to try to be cool for the last so many years of my life. I wanted to try again, and this might be that opportunity where I can finally become cool. So,
Okay.
well, I mean, yeah, I want to. I thought it was all, and I thought it would be kind of fun. I mean, I always have.
That's my
I
main interest. Is it seems fun. I mean, it's another excuse to talk with friends and you know bullshit and all that. So
That's actually it. Yes, I'm glad we've established we're friends. So, finally, I've been wondering for years.
ever since middle school, yeah, I have that vibe. People aren't sure. He keeps talking to me, but I don't know.
Oh man, no, but this is great. But yeah, no, honestly though, I've been I thought this would be really really fun to do, and I just wanted to talk. And I mean, I'm always seeing stuff in the news, or I'm reading something here, and it's a great opportunity. And I listen to a lot of podcasts as well, and I get a lot of ideas from that.
Yeah.
So I thought, hey, I would like to be part of this.
Well, Soko, what
Okay.
do we want to talk about today on our inaugural episode?
Um. Well, I guess we. What is this show about? Well, we're trying to figure that out too, right?
Right.
um. But I guess we can really just talk about one of the big lessons we've learned so far from trying to get this thing off the ground.
Which is what, no matter how prepared you are, it's always gonna suffer in the beginning.
Yeah, it seems that way. Kind of follows what's that? almost like Murphy's Law. You don't no, maybe not Murphy's Law. What law am I thinking of? I don't know.
Isn't it Murphy's Law?
Is it Murphy's Law
It's
where
basically if it can go wrong, it will.
wrong, it will go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, we had a. I mean, I thought our plan was foolproof to get this thing started.
You made an
We,
outline, which was more effort than I was willing to do. I was just like, let's just start, hit the record button and go.
just try to give some structure, right?
Sure.
Even though it's kind of all over the place too. But my foolproof plan was that because both you and I, we're very busy people. I'm busy flipping through Netflix or something, and you're busy doing something else too. I don't know why.
I'm busy.
But anyway,
Yeah, I'm busy drawing comics pretty much
comment.
all the time. Might as well plug myself for the one person who's going to listen to this for 5 minutes, and then immediately get out. But no, I make what they call a webtoon, which is just a digital comic for this app called Webtoon. It's called Trailer Park Warlock, and that's what I spend most of my time doing.
And just because I'm getting paid by Matt, I mean, I'm not getting paid by Matt. Just to say this, sorry. It's a wonderful comic. Please give it a read.
I paid him about it was about $25. It was all right. I paid Twitter more.
Well, okay. Well, at least I know who's the other client here. But I mean, we got the outline going. This was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought the foolproof plan, in order to get this thing going, honestly, was that we just pay somebody to do the recording aspect because neither of us really wanted to get involved.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I think. Well, it's a lot, right? Because it's a lot to edit. It's a lot to just get all the stuff arranged, and I'm terribly busy all the time, and I don't really have time to arrange all those things, figure out all the the ins and outs of audio software, recording equipment. Like, I probably at some point, if we keep doing this, I'm going to buy a better microphone than what I'm currently using.
Oh, I can hear you fine though.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. I'm hearing your audio, and it's, as Colin mentioned, it's much clearer. I think because I think mine.
Really?
I think my microphone.
Well, it
is
is a
not
Blue
quite
Snowball microphone. Just saying.
All right.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I didn't want to get involved in because I mean, people might think it's easy to just simply hit a record button and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly it is. It's simple to hit the record part, but a lot of people, like, I think this goes for, and Matt, you can even say this as a creative person, there's a lot more work involved than people realize.
Oh yeah, always. For everything. I mean, like, yeah. I spend 45 hours a week making something that somebody will read in about 5 to 10 minutes. It's like so I mean, for podcasts, it's a decent amount of time. You should for sure learning how to do audio editing and stuff like that.
But, yeah, just getting it all posted and making sure that sound quality is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get involved with that so much, and so I thought the foolproof plan would be just let's pay somebody to do it.
Sure.
Little did I know, and this is the lesson we learned, that everyone hates money. Based on our history of our producers.
I would have. I thought what you thought, which was that you offer money for something that might be a tedious task, and that might help with somebody wanting to do it. And then we had a previous potential producer who was like, and then so we had to move on. But yes, so it goes.
That's right. And considering, well, I know some of the ask And in this case, it really wasn't. I don't think we were asking too much, even though I know we both realize there's a lot of work involved in just trying to
We'll
get
have to
everything.
ask Colin that when
Yeah.
he's done with this episode.
Yeah.
I
We'll
don't
find that.
know how much effort it's going to end up being yet.
Yeah. Um, Based on our first producer, which I think we were both kind of disappointed in happening with the eventual no on that.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then even on our current producer, I mean, because I honestly thought, hey, we give, and honestly, people, we were giving 50 free bucks to people, to other people here, 50 free
This is a
bucks.
public announcement, by the way.
Oh yes. Oh, sorry. Maybe let's. Yeah, we were giving some money away for this.
50 free
Um,
bucks to whoever wants it.
um, Little did we know, even though I mean, I was willing to get rid of the money, so I don't particularly have this love for the money. I was willing to give it away just kind of easily.
Sure.
Little did I know that other people also had this equal hate towards money and that they don't accept it at all. It seems, even though it's 50 free bucks for what we're asking.
Well,
Uh,
long story short, we finally figured out how to give somebody money
yes,
for in exchange for help.
yes, essentially, it took us a while because this was actually something that we planned out for. I mean, we actually, I think it must have been a month and a half. Was it a month ago? I want to say, or maybe
It
right.
could have been easily more than a month, but I at least remember it as a month because it was maybe before Delta hit the Lake Charles
Yeah,
area. So
yeah. Okay, so y'all know where we're from. Dude, now everyone's gonna figure us out, Matt.
they'll know that we're from the Southwest Louisiana area.
No, it's
That
all good.
I'm expecting the drones coming in any minute.
Yeah, but no, that's when it all kind of around that time,
Sure,
and then yeah, I thought it wouldn't, but it ended up taking this long. But it's fine. We're here now.
we made it.
That's all that matters. We're here now. Um, and I'm just glad to finally get it started. No, because I've been so excited about this.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is on the itinerary for today?
Well, I wanted to be topical a bit here, which is really talk about the election stuff that just happened.
Oh, yeah, we had a
Um,
pretty big conversation earlier today on our friends Discord, on our general friend groups Discord about it. But did you have any? What thoughts do you have currently regarding all that?
I don't honestly. Hmm, I Well, with the election stuff, with Biden winning,
Hmm.
welcome Biden,
Welcome
um,
back, Biden.
welcome back, exactly. Build back better, right? uh, but with Biden here, this just means like a lot of some of the policies of the current administration, um, kind of being pushed out.
Yeah, well, let's talk
Uh,
about that because that was something that's probably the thing you talked about most was a lot of federal policies regarding federal labor unions, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are affecting them. Actually, I mean, labor unions have been really hit hard, and the administration actually even targeted a lot of federal unions.
Hmm.
Not many people realize that that actually really deeply curbed some of the union powers. Um, and Now with the administration just finally, I mean, having to exit out
Yeah,
in the coming months. Hopefully, that also means with under a Biden administration, those executive orders are going to be removed.
right.
A lot of these things, they really, and I mean, the bigger unions of the country were really fighting them, um, but then they kind of lost at one point when these executive orders first got or tried to get implemented. Um, they were kind of put on a delay. I think I want to say back in 2018 or so.
Okay.
Um, uh, and the bigger unions like AFSCME, or then AFL-CIO,
Hmm.
um, NTEU. I now don't ask. These are the acronyms I'm giving you. I don't remember all of them, what they
Sure,
stand
but no, I'm familiar with a couple of them for sure.
So they were all really fighting these things.
Yeah.
And but then I think they got a big shock um, when they tried to bring these to the courts, and then the courts actually said, no, it's fine. They can actually implement these executive orders. And it scared a lot of union folks, especially those having to like if you were wanting to renegotiate under these new executive orders, you would really get well, because the thing is with unions, what they do is they negotiate their rights with the agency or the management of the agency. Okay.
Okay.
And that's what you call the collective bargaining agreement, is what they're negotiating them with. There's a whole long process that I don't completely understand involved in getting it, but um, uh, what they do is they agree on this contract, and this is what has been promised to those union employees, what rights they have.
Okay.
And a lot of the times they can be these are just like, oh, this is what your leave policy is specifically for union people. This is what your when it comes to overtime, this is what the situation has to be, so on and so on. And then when it comes to even representation, how many hours can be dedicated to, if if a person's needing representation against somebody in management or management, they can get union representation. Uh, uh, but what the administration had done is they really curbed a lot of because when it comes to doing union work, you have to. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the details here because I don't want to make it. Uh,
There's a lot of details to get into. I mean, it sounds like
it just I just don't want to get confusion, but
yeah.
um, what ends up happening is that what the administration did was they really curbed the power to allow for representation
Okay.
a lot of the time, um, and this really scared a lot of unions, um, in especially in in the federal sector.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, um, they can't really even it just wasn't even a wise decision to try to negotiate during these times. um, and so many people were trying to kind of even avoid that, I would say, try to even negotiate any new, if you have a contract and there's something you don't like about your contract at the time, it's probably not wise to, what we'd say, reopen the contract, or to cause for a negotiation, because once you do, the executive, because I mean, the administration implemented these executive orders, but they don't apply if you already have your contract there. So
Okay.
it's just like you have a contract. Hey, those laws don't apply because you already had a contract beforehand. Okay. Um, but if the uh, union or agent or whatever, the management decide that they want to renegotiate it, it, what we say, like, opens up the contract, and now all the laws of the executive order apply to the contract. So anything that was against the executive order previously in your contract has to go. um, in this case
Are
they
you
have it to
saying
where
are you saying in the event of a Biden administration, those things would go? Is that what you're saying?
those executive orders would now,
Okay.
and now with the Biden administration coming in, these executive, and it's expected that these executive orders are going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't, they don't have to go, okay, but it's just kind of
I
expected.
mean, we're assuming that because has Biden been good towards unions? Like, does he have pro union sentiment, or is that kind of just the hope?
Yeah, that's what that's what's expected, and that's
Okay.
what it's thought.
All right.
There is a Biden certainly has like a kind of a working class background,
Yeah.
and even one of the first unions, one of the first organizations to endorse him was, I think it was a firefighters union. Okay, I want to say it was a firefighters union. I forget where. It might have been in Pennsylvania, might have been somewhere in Delaware. I don't remember. Um, and I mean, he's seen as being kind of more pro-union. I mean, Democrats are associated more with being more pro-union.
Sure. Right. I'm
Uh,
just saying, is that I was just wondering if that's the assumption because he's a Democrat and we don't actually know right now.
yeah, that is the assumption.
Okay.
That is the assumption. Um, I mean, we don't know until it actually happens, but I mean, it's just kind of expected.
Okay.
Um, I mean, usually when it comes to um, an administration change, depending on like the political party, Republicans tend to be anti-union, Democrats tend to be pro-union, but it's not always really necessarily true. There's tons of people who Republicans who are pro-union. There are tons of Democrats who are pro-union.
Yeah.
Or it
Yeah. I mean, unions are not particular to any political affiliation as far as I'm aware, because people who work want to be paid better. I mean, it's just kind of a
yeah,
thing.
that's right. I mean, to say though, like many of the big unions tend to work with Democrats because Democrats tend to a lot of the Democrat leader or some of the representatives and such tend to show more pro-union sentiments.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, there are, and I mean, the idea of the Democratic Party being kind of a bit more pro-worker. Um, but who knows how um, it just based on some of the things that sometimes, I mean, a lot of people wonder about that, and certainly that's coming out of, I mean, more in the leftist politics. There is uh, kind of a lot of people don't think some of the more what we call, like, I guess, the more corporate Dems
Yeah.
um, are that way.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Like, I would define Jeff Bezos as like a corporate Democrat. Like,
oh,
he ain't supporting any unions anytime soon. Like, shot
that's
on sight.
yeah, those are kind of like the, I don't know, crazy kind of situations. With it's funny. I mean, there's so many. Actually, you know, you say Jeff Bezos. I'm not sure if you heard about with Bobby Kotick of Blizzard, the president of Blizzard or CEO of Blizzard, I believe, right?
Okay, what happened there?
Oh, they were, you know, Blizzard was actually organizing. The workers there were organizing.
Uh-huh. I
And I
kind of
believe,
remember this, but yeah, you'll need to go further into the news about this. I don't
I
remember.
mean, I don't remember all the details. I just remember seeing this headline, "Hey, workers are organizing about they want to kind of have better pay and such." Okay. There wasn't any calling for necessarily unionization or
Okay.
anything like that. Um, and but not that I'm aware of, but those employees, um, I heard were ended up getting fired, and I mean, they probably didn't get fired. The official reason, I don't know what the official reason was, but the official reason definitely was not about organizing, because that's considered like illegal to do.
Right.
Like if you're organizing for a union or something, they can't fire you for that reason. But a lot of times, companies will try to find other ways to kind of get rid of those people because they see them more as agitators than anything else. And those people ended up, yeah, I heard a lot of them ended up getting fired. Um, I mean, I can go double check on that,
Well,
but
you know
like,
what that means, though, is there's going to be some more interesting Blizzard-like company coming into the video game fray in the next couple of years, formed out
what do
of
you?
jaded and dispense of Blizzard employees.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we've seen that history already. What was it? Oh, Guild. What game was that called? Guild. Was it Guild Wars? Was that what it's called?
I mean, I know it. Guild Wars is a game. I don't know the history behind the studio that developed it.
Wasn't that? Remember that was the If I'm thinking correctly, it's Guild Wars. Um, they were they basically were previous Blizzard employees that founded that company and started that game.
Okay. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. That sounds like
So
that sounds like something that might need to be fact checked because I have no clue.
yeah, I'll have to double check on it. But well, I was just relating to what you just kind of said
Yeah.
about, hey, Blizzard employees leaving.
Well,
Um,
that's kind of. I mean, that sucks they got fired, but that's kind of exciting for the possibilities of good Blizzard games in the future. So,
I
silver lining.
I guess. Wait, just because they got fired?
No, I'm saying there's the potential of them forming their own company and
Oh,
making better games because Blizzard Activision games have been pretty crap for the last couple of years. I mean, the most
okay.
interesting thing they made was like Hearthstone, and that was just like it was the most bare bones card game I've played in a long time.
Yeah, wait, as you're really, weren't you really addicted
I
to it for a
was. I
while?
was seriously like really into it for a while, and they kept making like cards that kept breaking the game, and I was like, I'm done. And it's just like at a certain point, it's just like, oh, okay, I see what y'all are doing. Like, you keep making these cards that you have to pay a lot of money for to get that are become essential to having a good deck. And so
Okay.
I was just like, I'm done. No thanks.
I well, I wanted to kind of point all that out though with Bobby Kotick though,
Yeah.
because if you saw how somebody I saw this on Twitter, they actually showed who he was donating to. Well, I mean, the person was like, "Oh, I guess we know who the person voted for, who Bobby Kotick voted for," because they showed basically he was donating to all these big Republican representatives and
Hmm.
such. I think he might have donated to Mitch McConnell. He donated to so many of these people, so he kind of knew where his leanings were. And I was just like, yeah, I guess not a surprise necessarily, just based on because of how he basically demolished his kind of organizing
It's
effort.
weird. I mean, it's weird because it's like going back, I guess, to just this case with Blizzard Activision. It's like it's not like they're doing bad monetarily. They keep making
No.
like these cash cows where they do minimal work and reap maximum reward. And so it's just like, I mean, I've heard a lot of complaining about Blizzard over the last couple of years. And I mean, it just sounded like what happened with them is the, I don't know what you call the executives or whatever. We're like, well, we're not going to worry about making games now. Let's just cash in while we can, which has been the general seems to have been the general attitude of most companies like in the last 4 years, I want to say, of just like blatant blatantly trying to take people for everything that they're worth. And I would argue that was happening before, before 2016, but it became very very virulent after that, after
Well,
2016.
I mean, the industry really went. Oh God, I mean, the industry really went. I don't keep up with it so much these
You're talking
days.
about video games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep up as much.
No, I don't either. I mean, because part of the reason is because most of the games aren't that interesting to me. Like all the AAA titles are kind of the same. Like, oh, what's the name of that game? That's like, oh, is it Uncharted? Like, they're the same kind of like storytelling Uncharted
Yeah.
game where it's like minimal interaction and very cinematic, set pieces. And I mean, the graphics have gotten impressive, but none of the games look actually fun to play. So I'm just like kind of out.
Yeah, I don't know. I got so. I mean, I don't know. Like back in. I mean, maybe it was just a sign of me growing up. I don't know what, but I just lost
Yeah.
interest.
Well, there are plenty of people our age playing video games. That's the thing. I
Yeah,
don't think it's an age thing. I think it's just literally the games themselves are not that compelling.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I still get like. I mean, I do go on YouTube a lot looking at old retro
Yeah.
games. half
Yeah,
the time.
exactly. Like I will actively go on Twitch to see what people are playing cuz like, there's a part of me that's like, "Oh, yeah, maybe one day there'll be something that'll come out that'll get my attention." Like I mean at the beginning of probably for a good 7 months I was like going hard at Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, but like
Mhm.
I got to the point where I was done because I didn't care too much for the second set of new fighters that they've introduced. They're kind of boring to me. Like after Steve, I was like, no thanks.
They I'm actually wondering why they're not going down deeper into the Nintendo archive, considering there are so many characters Nintendo has developed from
Yeah,
the
like Operation Logic Bomb, like the one I keep pleading for.
Hey Matt, it might happen actually. It might happen. Um Based on what we're seeing.
Or Vice Project Doom. There's some classy characters that they could have at their disposal, but Sakurai just didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just who knows? I mean, company decisions are company decisions too, right? I bet that was just like, hey, look, we know who our audience, a lot of who our audience is. We have a lot of younger people, a lot of young kids. A lot of them are obsessed with Minecraft. I can even tell you from personal experience. I have nephews and nieces who are obsessed with
Yeah,
it.
I mean that's the thing is like I guess that's the thing is like there are a lot of people who are into Minecraft. I've never played it. I mean, we have a friend who has played it a lot. Have you ever played Minecraft, Hars? I
I watched it.
SOCO?
I watched it. So okay, well, we're gonna have to bleep that out. um, yeah, what was it? I've only seen it in action,
Yeah.
but I never actually played it. Um, I mean, I know I'd probably get really addicted to it, but I say that, but then again, I've never. I don't think I've. Well, I might have gotten a little addicted to Harvest Moon. I mean, I'm talking about sim games.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest um, person into simulation games. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I've seen it in action. I haven't actually even sat there and play it. I mean, I've seen it with some of our other friends who play it too. Um,
It just
I w-
looks for me maybe maybe you have to be in a place where you're playing it, but to me it looks like the most boring game. Like it looks like a game where you're just clicking, the left button over and over and over again to mine stuff. I mean, I don't know, it's probably fun to build things or whatever, but I guess for me, like I could be spending that time drawing a comic, and that's something that I build that like builds income for me and a career. And so I'd rather, if I'm going to play a game, I want to do something where I'm doing something that's extraordinary or weird or outside of the norm, you know? Like
yeah.
like I I've built Lego sets. So like maybe that's the thing is like younger people just don't have that thing going on where either they haven't spent that much time playing Legos or I don't know what. But
Well, my nephew, he plays Legos and he plays
yeah, okay. Well, I'm just out of touch with the kids.
well, actually, even I actually know. Actually, Colin was a really would make Minecraft videos because he worked there for a South Korean company and he had to make Minecraft mod videos.
Oh
I
whoa.
remember it. Yeah, he it's it's kind of so out of us three here, the adults, Colin has had the most involvement with Minecraft. No, but anyway, I mean, to get back down to it all, yeah, no, the industry's certainly changed a lot. And really, honestly, when I saw that getting it back to it, saw that organizing effort, um, I was like, oh, this would be a big first if a gaming company um, unionized.
Yeah, that'd be huge
Um,
for sure.
that would be really big. I mean, I still remember back in the day of how, if you remember, I'm not sure. I think maybe things have changed a lot too. I don't know, but there was always a bad practice I've heard from a lot of gaming companies where they do what they call crunch time.
Okay.
To whereas, and I mean, this is just like they have deadlines to meet, and then what ends up happening, like they're producing a game, they're making a game, and then they're getting closer to deadline, and they didn't, I don't know, maybe the management didn't do a good job with the pacing, or they're just sudden decisions. I have no idea. And then they start making the developers start working like they're like, you need to get this stuff done. Um, and something to whereas they're working 60 to 80 hours a week, um,
Right. Just these
just
huge long,
programming.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes on for weeks and such. I mean, they're basically living at the desk. Um, and as I understand, that kind of just like, and this might be something with tech in general. I don't know. Um, that's just been kind of always kind of a big issue for
That's
just
definitely, I would argue that that's definitely like a tech culture thing. Um or has
yeah,
been, cuz like I'm pretty sure you would find similar things going on in Google and Apple and whatever else.
yeah. I'm positive on that too. Then, like, I imagine then like just having uh which would probably be the biggest scare for a lot of tech companies. Um, uh, is a unionization
Yeah, they can afford it
program.
though. Like
Yeah, they definitely
let's be
can.
frank, they can afford it. So I would be kind of excited to a certain extent to see what would happen if
Mhm.
tech started unionizing in the next couple of years. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hey, well, bringing that back, like, and that's the thing though. The organizing kind of, I don't know. It just seems like even with our recent election, I mean, um, it's this election was really really close, which I think a lot of people um, were there are a lot of people I would say on the uh, especially on like the left were disappointed by um, um,
What were things that the left was disappointed by?
just how close this election
Oh,
was.
well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
and not to say it's over just yet,
I don't know. Does
because
anybody remember the last election? Like
with
in
20
2016, I mean, it was pretty much like, well, I say that. I don't know. That was, if I remember better, that situation was Hillary had the popular vote by a considerable amount, right? Like it was huge, and then old Trump bucket had the electoral votes somehow.
yeah.
So
I mean, it was certainly close in but I think why people uh some people I think were thinking it wouldn't be this close just based on what's been happening in the last so many months with the pandemic and everything. Um,
it really depends on what state you're in, I think. And that was kind of the thing that I felt like I noticed was because like I mean was it confirmed that Georgia flipped over to Democrat? Because it was looking that
uh,
way. Let me check. But it was
I'll have
looking
to
that
double
way.
check. Yeah, I have to double check on that. I just saw the news saying, "Hey," because I'll be honest, I've been kind of avoiding the news a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just so
Oh,
much.
it actually hasn't been decided for Georgia, but it was decided in Nevada and it was decided in Pennsylvania. So those are the big
Yeah,
ones. I mean, once Pennsylvania is gone, there's not really.
then it's
Yeah.
that's pretty much right. I mean, they just needed. I mean, Biden just needed 270 and he met that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's not all over yet, but this pandemic. I mean, because I'm bringing it back in the past. If something like this happened before with the previous, with any administration, as big, because honestly, the pandemic has not been handled very well. Um, or I mean, a lot of people would generally blame the. If anything like this happened with a previous with any administration, the administration would get blamed for it, and usually then it's like, oh no, when the election time comes on, people will just go to the other side out of
Yeah.
anger or something.
Well, that's the other part of it, though, is there are. I mean, I don't know this for certain, but I would make the argument that, especially in more red states, they are very interested in on what they imagine to be the freedoms that they have with Trump as president, because the Trump administration has been pretty lax, right, in terms of what goes on state by state. It's been pretty much the response to the coronavirus has been pretty much a state by state sort of thing.
Yeah, it was a decentralization in a way, not to
Yeah.
centralize
And
everything,
I
right?
mean, on a certain level, I prefer decentralization, but also would have been nice to have like a more concerted effort of this thing from the beginning, of like, hey, the government's going to make sure that everybody's getting their costs paid, and what costs they need to get paid for home, food, the basics, and then we'll just sit around and hang out for a while. And it kind of happened that way for 2 months, and then after 2 months, like,
Yeah,
the Trump administration's like, well, we're done, and then it's just been madness after that.
that's pretty much right. I well, like with all that stuff happening, and um I don't know, it was just kind of shocking to me anyways. It was just so shocking with this election. um um I don't know, not going so, because honestly, I mean, I was thinking, I was like, okay, Biden's just going to just get it like that.
Yeah.
But then, like, these last days have really definitely not shown that way at all, and it's still an ongoing fight.
Well, because the other part of it is COVID is not the only subject that's on a lot of people's minds. And for a lot of people, it might not even be the most pressing subject in some situations, in some circumstances.
Mhm.
That's the thing, is like, this whole thing is very perception oriented, and it's definitely oriented around this story that of like, okay, so like with Trump, you have this story of, here's this orange white supremacist who is planning on overthrowing the United States slowly but surely, and wants to get us into war, in playing 4D chess and all this other stuff, incomprehensibly somehow. And then with Biden, it's like, oh, he's basically a zombie. He's not even alive. He's going to usher in a new era of socialism that will put us all in chains, as China suddenly comes out of nowhere and like locks us all up.
And well, I think that was definitely definitely not the case. And, is most likely not going to be
Well,
happening
that's
in the
what's
coming
really
year.
odd about it too, is it's not like it's not like Democrats like China all that much either. Like, like, it makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's like the one thing that I see bipartisan, from a bipartisan perspective, that gets talked about is like distrust and ire for China. And it's like, well, okay, well, I don't really like where that's going.
Well, like I think if there was more, I wanted to bring it all back to this, really, with the leftism
Bring it on back.
aspect, um, because I think there was certainly, putting out policies such as just adding better unemployment benefits, increasing healthcare benefits or healthcare opportunities, whatever it may be, like providing Medicare for people during this time of the pandemic. Um, at least doing those kind of things are, I think, for most Americans, I mean, are very popular, would be a very popular thing at this time. Maybe in just in general, but um, uh, these kind of policies are seen as kind of leftist politics, and even the sign of like that organizing happening at Blizzard or anything like that. It's just, I think there's just been more of an increasing mentality for things that would be considered part of leftism.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, I mean, if Blizzard was organizing, if there were more unions, if that was like the first company to become a big company like that to become a union,
Yeah.
um, that could motivate other workers at other companies in the tech industry to start doing that too.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's one big company right now. One of the company, I think Kickstarter is one of the very, very few unionized companies out of the tech industry or startup or whatever it's called. Um, so I, 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 I I mean, I'm wondering in these. I mean, now the elections happened. I mean, still going to be 2 months of chaos. We know that. I mean, this is not going
Oh,
to just
it's
go away
yeah,
suddenly.
it's gonna be years of chaos.
Years. Yeah, well, that's
We'll
probably
have
true
President
too.
Kanye by then.
But there might be a more. I don't know what the next. There might be. I mean, there is an increase of more attraction towards leftist politics.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
there
I
are.
think I don't know. I'm trying not to be too cynical about this, but I think what
Mhm.
the attraction is for a lot of people is the idea that um, we, collectively, people can have better income in their lives, have their needs met. Like it's like the general attraction right now for leftist politics is that people just don't feel like they're getting their needs met at all, and certainly the government in the United States hasn't been trying too hard to do anything about that. But
I
anyhow,
Well, no, actually, I think you're right. I guess I shouldn't say, "Hey, everyone's for." It's for now all leftist
well,
ideology.
and
Like
here's why I
it,
say this too is
yeah,
like
yeah.
as soon as like we reach that point where we hit that, there's going to be a point if the trend goes where more and more people unionize, wages increase in the United States, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be a point where suddenly all these leftists are like, oh, taxes, I don't want to pay more taxes. And then suddenly the pendulum swings more rightward, basically.
Well, that I mean that could
I
happen.
mean,
I
that's
mean, I
pretty
know.
much what got Ronald Reagan into office.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was mostly comes down to because many people don't see are seeing they're being asked to pay taxes, but then they don't necessarily see the return of that
Mm.
payment.
Oh yeah.
And that's when they start getting a little disenchanted with that. And there doesn't necessarily need to be necessarily an increase in taxes because honestly, I mean, if you get into, um, for example, the military um, um, defense budget or whatever, they get quite a bit of money. Um, and that's, what do they call it? Maybe we'll have a further discussion on this
Yeah, they
later.
get all the money. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the reality.
They do, and they actually get it from something called I think it's called discretionary spending, and I don't completely understand it, but I believe it's just extra tax money
Yeah.
that Congress has collected, or Congress that has been collected um, by the federal government, and Congress is kind of gets to decide where it goes, and a lot of it goes to defense. Um, so, but I think that can be a further
It costs a
further
lot of money
discussion.
to put UFOs into warehouses, SOCO. It's very expensive.
I I know, I agree. I agree.
Let
It's
me
really
tell
expensive
you.
to house those things. Well, now they're going to be housing the body of Sean Connery, actually.
Oh, that's right. Are you implying that Sean Connery was not of this earth?
Oh, Sean Connery is a god in my opinion.
So here's my opinion about, well, I don't know if it's an opinion, just a statement, I guess. Like, all right, I will miss Sean Connery, but I never liked any of his movies.
What about Dragonheart?
That
His
was the
best movie.
only one. The one where he plays a CGI dragon is the only one that I remember fondly. The reality is the thing that I remember Sean Connery more for is his contribution to world culture through the site we
You,
all know
you,
as You're the Man Now Dog, which is,
no, I
who
mean,
could ask for a more important contribution to world culture?
that's the thing with Sean Connery. It's funny to think. I mean, I mean, I looked. He died at he passing. He was at 90 when he
Dang,
passed.
what a
And he
trooper.
disappeared. And I mean, he disappeared from public light around, was it early 2000s?
Oh
We
yeah,
just I want to say around
I
then.
want to say it was
Um,
after the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because that movie was so awful.
you can put more.
I would quit after that movie too.
Well, I think you know more of the background of that than I do. I no, I mean that I did watch that movie. It was a pretty forgettable film, I recall. But I know you're a big fan of the comic,
Oh, I'm a huge fan of
so
the comics, but it's nothing like, I mean, it's nothing like the comics. I can't even, I don't even want to go into it. That movie is it's so bad.
no, but like Connor, like you bring that up. It's kind of funny. He's quite an icon, in the sense of pop culture wise with James Bond, but then also this kind of underground internet culture, with the memes essentially with
Well, it's
You're
not
the Man.
just that, but it was also like Saturday Night Live. Like there was like the whole Jeopardy thing for a while where Sean Connery, I can't remember who played him. I think it might have been Daryl Hammond. Um,
Okay.
like played Sean Connery on Jeopardy, and that was, I remember people repeating that stuff for forever. Like that was, he was definitely the meme maker, Sean Connery.
Yeah, no, he was. And now, I mean, I well, I mean, he was like, and here's one thing I think it's interesting that people were actually trying to cancel him too at this
Really, I didn't hear about that. Wait, what's going on there?
no, because he made this. You might have heard this thing years ago. Him saying something about, um, I think beating his wife or
Oh,
something.
jeez.
Yeah, something. I forget. Not his wife. It was hitting. I forget. But because I mean, I don't know Sean. No, none of us know Sean Connery, but like, he had some sort of interview and he said something. Um, uh, he might have been just being sardonic. I don't know exactly. Um, but I know some people were bringing that up to try to cancel him. bit.
It didn't. I don't remember. I don't remember the call going out. If it happened, I wasn't there. Wasn't part of it.
And not to say like I'm not, whatever the comments he made, I'm not, you know, fond of or anything like that. I don't know. It's funny to, besides all that, I mean, he's now just kind of I don't know, he's gone now.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for Dragonheart like 5 or something to come out.
Oh, that you
No.
know, I as much as we joke about this, I actually there is a celebrity who I feel kind of sad about him becoming older and getting towards the twilight years of his life, or maybe already at the twilight years of his life, but that's Tim Curry. I did not know this, but he had a stroke back in 2012.
Oh, Tim Curry, really?
Yeah, that's why he hasn't been in anything. Like, yeah,
Oh, really?
he had a stroke and like can barely. Well, I say barely, but I mean he has a hard time talking. And the only reason I even know this is because like when I was at my dad's house after I evacuated for Hurricane Laura, he has like the kind of cable package where you have a million channels. So one of the channels he had was Paramount, and on the Paramount channel, they were like advertising for like this Halloween thing. In
Mhm.
one of the things was like a bunch of like movies starring Tim Curry, so like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I can't remember what the other one was. But the person who was narrating it, I I was like, who is narrating this? Like their voice is really low. This doesn't sound familiar. And then like in the commercial itself, it says in text, like, this is Tim Curry narrating this commercial. I was like, what? Like, what's going on? And so I did some research and it turned out it was because, yeah.
Tim Curry, I forget he was also in Home Alone 2 and all these other kind of films out there as well. He's kind of quite what's the word I'm looking for? Ubiquitous if
Yeah.
he's in these
He was in a
commercials.
lot of stuff. He
I
worked.
mean,
He
oh God,
hustled.
yeah. Yeah. And he just, yeah, like you said, I guess 2012 he just had a stroke and just went out of public light for a while. Um God. I don't know. I wonder what stuff we're gonna find out about him in the future.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure if you dug into his past, he's probably kind of a freak, but in a good way.
Yeah, actually,
How
it's
could he
kind of
not?
funny. I mean, a lot of actually, it's always kind of funny if you look in. I don't think that most people realize how much messed up some of these celebrity, some people that you think are like great um, celebrities or anything. I think a lot of people don't realize how messed up some of the messed up things some of these folks have done or said.
Well, I gotta say, like, something. This was watching a John Waters interview.
Hmm.
Um, somebody, I think somebody had asked him the question of like why he wanted to be a filmmaker or whatever,
Hmm.
and his response like dug into me as like an artist because it was basically every artist kind of. It was a response that covered basically every artist, and he was like, "It's because I wanted attention. I'm insecure." Like, it was so blunt the way he said it. I was like, "Oh, geez." And so like that's kind of, I think, for a lot of artists, like they do things that are probably often outlandish or whatever
Yeah,
because it's an attempt to grab attention and get people's attention.
yeah, that might be it. Um, I mean, like, well, I always read up stuff, especially on like rock musicians. Um, I mean, I like a lot of, um, like whether it be like the Who, Led Zeppelin, or something like that. And these guys are all really praised, but like if you look into some of the stuff they did, um, it's just kind of crazy. That I think a lot of people would uh, probably be wanting to get rid of them. But I don't know. It's always kind of weird. Um, you know, this was kind of the big thing with Sean Connery now passing, and but we do have another very important matter to discuss.
What's that?
And this important matter is dealing with what I like to call Dogecoin.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is what this podcast is really about. Where it
Actually,
all
this was
started.
yes. Actually, this is where it all did start, because me and Matt here were actually having a conversation about Dogecoin, or what he calls Dogecoin,
Doge.
and
Doge.
Dogecoin.
You pronounce the G like a J.
Dogecoin,
Or Doge.
and um they God just this is what originally the call was going to be about, us discussing about Dogecoin or Dogcoin or Doggycoin, and trying to decide exactly, I don't know, for an hour on how to actually pronounce this word.
I mean, I'm going to stalwartly just say it's either Doge or Doge. That's where I'm at.
I actually know the answer,
What
because
is
I went ahead and looked up.
okay? What is the answer?
So we didn't have to even discuss for an hour. It turns out it is called Dogecoin.
Yes.
And this but I still like to say doggy coin because it looks like it's dog. I mean, it's a funny currency. What I've looked into a bit, just because, like,
You've only looked into it. So
I mean,
far?
I've looked.
I'm
Well,
like,
I've had
I'm fully
experience in the
invested. I'm 100% invested. Not all my assets, but most.
Yeah, I know. You're really invested into this. I mean, it's a funny currency. It's a cryptocurrency, for everyone wanting to know. It's a cryptocurrency, but it's kind of a joke cryptocurrency. Um, and it ended up actually, because if you looked up the value of it, it's only about what, point zero
Oh,
zero
let me look
three
right now.
two or something. Yeah, maybe point
No,
zero zero.
no. Well, it might be more because Bitcoin's been heating up, and
Oh yeah.
Dogecoin tends to follow Bitcoin in terms of valuation. And no, it hasn't though. Bitcoin, the amount, the value for Bitcoin has actually risen by like 2,000 in the last couple of days, but
Okay.
Dogecoin's holding strong at 0.002676.
Oh yeah, and
So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing with a lot of cryptocurrencies. Um, from my own experience dealing with them, when when Bitcoin goes up, a lot of the other ones just tend to go up too.
yeah, it's the general. I think the general logic is that Bitcoin is kind of the value leader, and so for whatever reason, when people start to buy a lot of Bitcoin, um, other people just start looking into into the altcoins or whatever. For whatever, I don't know. I guess that's the same way I ended up buying Dogecoin.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, hey, there are other coins. Sure, I'll buy all of them.
I mean, I was like, I mean, I was looking at. I mean, Dogecoin is funny. It is actually a legitimate cryptocurrency
Yeah,
from what I looked at.
I'm holding strong until it hits $1.
Hey, if you put, like, even, I don't know, $100 at the current value, and they got to 2 cents, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Well,
you would be, wow.
you would have like $5. It's not that. Come on.
Well, no, I mean, like, they it's funny because it's kind of a stable currency. It's a joke currency, but it's a pretty stable currency.
It's stable because it's at the ground floor. There's nowhere else for it to go. It's not going
But
further down.
that was the thing I was about to say, like, with Elon Musk actually even, I mean, there was kind of a meme associated. He even tweeted it out, and the value even went up more.
Mm-hmm.
There's even like a Reddit community just dedicated to Dogecoin, still talking about Dogecoin. They even have kind of their own little jokes, which is like one Dogecoin equals one Dogecoin. They all say this all the time.
Well, that's true. That's the perfect, beautiful simplicity of Dogecoin.
So I mean, like, um, it's. I mean, you could actually, if you were, because that's the thing with cryptocurrencies. What I understand is that how do you say it? Volatile
Volatility.
aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. There tends to be the big attraction to cryptocurrencies for a lot of people doing investment stuff.
Well, because in theory, you can make money doing that, where
That
it's like, you buy, like, okay, if you bought Dogecoin right now and then wait like for a year, in about a year, there's going to be another run up where it goes to like 0.005 cents, and then you can make some money. But the amount of money you have to pour into it is like maybe a couple thousand, drop a couple $1,000 in.
well, I mean, like hey, Dogecoin goes up and down like crazy. In the sense of like, I mean, it's pretty. When I've looked at it, some days it goes down like 1%, and then suddenly it goes up like 1%. Or it goes down 1% in 5 minutes, and it goes up like 2% and down again, up and down and up. Um, and you have to do what they would be like a lot of short term investing into it. Um, I don't know, like a lot of the cryptocurrencies. That's how I think, as I understand, that's how you try to. Uh, that's how people make money off of it. Is because of how volatile they are.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
that's definitely the case with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's super, super volatile.
yeah, I don't know. Well, with Dogecoin, it's kind of a funny currency, and it even, uh, as I recall, a few months ago, and you noted this to me before too, it TikTok some person on TikTok.
Oh, I was so
What was
excited
it?
that night, the TikTok revolution. It didn't go like I thought it would, because I was like, when it hit 0.005, I was like, oh yeah, it could finally happen. We might get to 1 cent. Could happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, the way it was, it went up pretty fast, right? Didn't it? They were basically rallying, as I'd say,
Yeah,
right?
it was rallying for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh my gosh, no, it's a funny currency, and it's gonna be with us. And I wonder when Elon Musk is probably gonna retweet it again or something in the future, or some other person just talking about it. Um, uh, but I guess we can have our vote on how to pronounce this thing, because
We're
that
still
was one
gonna
of the
vote,
bigger
even though there was an actual conclusive answer.
So, all those in favor of it being called doggy coin, just say I.
Nobody.
I.
Nobody
There's
said
one
that.
vote. It's me. Okay. All those in favor of calling it Dogecoin?
That would be me.
1-1. Okay.
We're still
We do have a third
unresolved.
person. Um. Oh, and that is from our
There you
producer,
go.
Dogecoin. Okay. 2-1. Even though in my reality, it's called Doggy Coin, but we'll stick with Dogecoin.
I'm glad to hear that. I can rest well.
Dogecoin. If I just bring it up because this was going to be what our big conversation was, and if you're interested in it yourself, I mean, go for it. It's up to you. Um, I mean, I'm not promoting it. It's up to you completely. Do what you want
I'm
with the money.
100% saying take all of your retirement funds, throw it into Dogecoin. I will benefit. I don't know if you'll benefit, but I will for sure.
Well, why don't we just well, okay. I know we've been talking for a while now. Maybe it's let's kind of wrap it up here really quickly. Um Well, let's end the show with this.
All right.
Looking at the price of Dogecoin. What is the current price right now, Matt?
It was let me look one more time. It was pretty much what I announced previously, but it's 0.0026676. So there you go. We'll see how it is
Oh,
next week.
all right, we'll see. It'll probably be changing in the next 5 seconds. But anyway, for next time, we are probably going to be figuring out our theme song. So stay tuned for that.
I thought we figured it out.
I'm still wondering what it is. Honestly, our theme song.
Yeah,
Not the show.
welcome the theme of Welcome Back, Cotter.
Wait, is that what? Oh, okay. All right, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, it's nice talking. I'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later, SOCO.
Bye.
Bye.